Welcome to the Rube Report, a weekly in-depth look at Astoria High School sports with Athletic Director Howard Rube. The Rube Report is brought to you by Northwest Lending Group. It's time to hit the ground running. Here's your host, Coach Howard Rube.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Rube Report. This is Howard Rube, Athletic Director and Head Football Coach of your Astoria High Fighting Fishermen. Very excited to be with you on this Thursday afternoon. I will be joined by Mr. Dane Gouge, owner-operator of Astoria Ford and voice of the Fighting Fishermen, as well as the producer of our show, Mr. Sean O'Connor. We have a great show lined up. Please stay with us. Welcome back to the Rube Report. We would like to thank our title sponsor, the Northwest Lending Group. The Northwest Lending Group has been helping Clatsop County residents achieve their dream of home ownership since 1992. Greg has a full range of mortgage products. Please give him a call in Astoria for a no-pressure talk about your home financing needs. He can be reached at 503-325-4116. Again, Greg can be reached at 503-325-4116. We would also like to thank our participating sponsor, Joe's Mobile.
Fuel and snacks and
people you know. Joe's Mobile is the place to go.
We got a little ditty on there.
That was nice.
I thought we were going to be singing a little bit more, so yeah, that was more of the talkie version, I think.
Do you have something we can play?
Yeah, we're gonna adjust it.
We'll adjust it.
Well, we don't want our listening audience to be phoning in and texting in that you're a one-hit wonder. So
yeah, no one-hit wonder.
That's the last thing we want. Yeah.
No Aldo Nova.
you need to come up with a good jingle.
Yeah, got it.
I thought that's pretty good. That's catchy.
Okay, it's good.
Fuel and snacks, people that you know. Joe's Mobile is a place to go. That's not bad.
No, it's good.
Well, how about this?
Joe's Mobile. Joe's Mobile.
You're going to edit this back in?
Joe's Mobile.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
All right, now back to the show. So we have a few minutes before we have to go to our first commercial break, fellas. What do you want to talk about first? You want to talk about some fisherman football, some NFL football? What do you guys want to talk about?
Well, first, prayers and thoughts go to Jordan Poyer. His season's probably done.
If people did not see or hear last Sunday covering a punt, AHS alum and Oregon State alum Jordan Poyer was covering a punt at they were at Nashville, right, playing the Titans. And got hit pretty good. Hit so hard that and just caught him right that it ended up lacerating his kidney.
Ended up being a bruised kidney.
Oh, good.
From what I've been
similar to what happened to Andrew Luck last season, and he was out for most of the year last year.
Well, they already put Jordan on the 8-week disabled list, so the chances that he would come back from that are, if he gets 2 games maybe, if that. So
they should just let him, recover, come back next year.
Well, ideally, that'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I know it's killing him not to be out there competing.
Oh yeah, plus he can't exercise either.
Well, right. I mean, for him to just be stagnant is going to be really hard for him. And I appreciate you bringing that up right away. I know I've had all kinds of people text me, that don't even know Jordan, but are just letting me know they're holding good thoughts for him. And it was a little scary at first. It's weird. It was a little bit like, I remember that scene for people old enough to remember the movie Jerry Maguire. And there's
Great
a scene
movie
at the end where his client is a receiver for the Cardinals in this movie. And
Rod Tidwell.
And he gets he basically gets knocked out. And seeing that family go through that, I felt like I was going through the same thing. I was watching it live, and it was good to see him get up and walk off the field on his own accord, but then getting the report that he's at the hospital and it involves his kidneys and all this stuff was a little
It really makes me think more about all the other players that get hurt.
Yeah.
Because when it's not personal,
you don't think much about it.
Even if it's on your team, you don't think much about it. Oh, darn it, our guy's hurt, my defensive tackle's hurt. You don't think about it.
You
But
just
once
kind of
it's-
hope they're okay.
Once it's family, it's like, wait a minute, it's really terrible.
It hits home more.
Well, it's his livelihood.
Yeah, and you see people that are making like jokes about it. Well, he's brown, of course it's going to. I'm like, that guy, what's up?
No, that
You know?
happens on every team.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and it's interesting how much the game has changed and how it needs to change if it's going to survive, in the sense that a blindside hit like that, which used to be kind of glorified, and
It definitely was.
You would start cheering up and down, but with the education that we have, hey, no, you can't make a hit like that. It could be a career ender for somebody.
You kill somebody. Now,
Well, the way, unfortunately, as fast as these guys are and as strong as they are, unfortunately, the NFL hasn't had anything like that, to deal with.
they haven't had it. The safety measures have been great, but
Well, that's just it. And that's what the other thing people do need to realize, and I really believe this to be true, and that's why I feel comfortable. My son is 12 years old and is playing the sport and will continue to play the sport as long as he wants to and is enjoying it, is that the game has never been safer.
No.
And that's fact. Between the trainings, and in fact, our football coaches are trained more in terms of safety and what you have to look for and how to teach proper technique to avoid serious injury, more so than any other time. The most dangerous thing that our teenagers can be doing is drive a car.
Right.
And they take a test once.
Right.
And they do a drive once with an instructor, and they get their license. Our football coaches have to do annual trainings, annual instruction.
Right.
The game is, in a lot of ways, has never been safer, and then obviously the equipment goes hand in hand with that.
No, equipment's unbelievable what they've come up with.
Yeah, I mean, safety is more addressed nowadays, too, than it ever has been before.
Well,
Safety of the players and all the rule changes.
And what started this conversation was this actual hit, which used to be glorified if you watch it, if you grab it on YouTube or whatever, but is now deemed an illegal hit. And for I would almost call them Neanderthal football fans that think that's stupid and crazy, I would say, no, you're being a little stupid and crazy, because these hits could be career enders. Someone could seriously get hurt, and they don't need to be part of it.
Well, I think what they don't realize is that these kids that are playing now, for whatever reason, because of training abilities, the coaching, the knowledge that we have nutrition-wise, are bigger, faster, and stronger. The lines in the NFL used to be in the 250, 260 range, and those were big guys. Now there isn't anybody in the twos. They're all in the threes or fours. And they're big, strong, fast guys. This is a 300-pound man at 6'4" that runs a 5-flat 40.
Right.
That's faster than most running backs in high school football. He's running, and he's,
No, I know,
and
and
he's a big, huge man.
And for people our age and older, it's hard for them because, like, I'll use pitching as another example. In Major League Baseball now, and all the way down to the high school level,
Right.
These guys are getting 5 days rest, or they're on a pitch counter or whatever. And, you read about guys when they started playing baseball over 100 years ago, they didn't have any days rest. They threw
it was their guy.
If it was a doubleheader, they had one pitcher. He threw 18 innings. That was it. Well, that guy wasn't throwing 100 miles per hour.
Right.
It was a different deal. And we're dealing that now with the concussion in sport as well. Guys like you and me, our age, and people older, don't understand, why are these kids getting concussions? And the best answer I can give, and what made sense, and a neurosurgeon told me this, is when you were a kid, you weren't staring at something in your hand and being stimulated 24/7 like these kids are now.
Right.
Everything is different. The way technology has affected us is different.
My
And
wife tells me that I must have been concussed a lot. I don't know. I don't know what
your
you
wife
meant by
is a
that.
smart woman.
We better go to break.
All right, well, we're going to go to break. We kind of went off on a little rant and tangent. So, but when we come back, we're going to talk AHS athletics. Welcome back to the Rube Report. I would again like to thank our title sponsor, the Northwest Lending Group. as well as our participating sponsor, Joe's Mobile. And then also our additional sponsors, those that help bring us this radio broadcast, as well as Dane TV, as we like to call it, the YouTube broadcast of the football games on the Astoria Ford website. And those sponsors are Astoria Ford, Pacific Power, P&L Johnson, Van Dusen Beverages, the Ohana Media Group, PNC Construction, and Clatsop Distributing. Gentlemen, let me get our listening audience and you guys caught up in everything else going on with our fall athletic teams. Tonight, our soccer teams are in action. It is senior night for our girls as we're hosting Banks. That's a 6:30 p.m. start. We'll start senior introductions probably around 6:15, 6:20, and we will kickstart. Is that how you say it? Kickstart soccer?
Sure.
Yeah,
that's good.
That works. Good word.
At 6:30 p.m., and that's at CMH Field. So please come out to the field. The Booster Club will have concessions going, and it'll be a good night of soccer. A good competitive game. Our games with the Banks Lady Braves normally are. The boys on the flip side are traveling to Banks, and that is a varsity-only contest starting at 4:15. Volleyball wrapped up their season on Tuesday. We went down 3-1 to the Scappoose Indians at Scappoose on their senior night. The volleyball team had an interesting year. We had a really rough league season where we ended up 6th out of our 6 teams. But what I think would be important for everyone to realize is the other 5 teams all qualified for the postseason tournament, which is unheard of. We have the other 5 teams all ranked in the top 16 in the state.
Wow.
So
Tough
even our
league.
extremely tough.
Talent. So
So even our 5th place team had a ranking high enough to get qualified for the postseason. And so, again, we want to thank all of our parents and student athletes and coaches for the volleyball season that we had and all their efforts. And we know in a year like this, it can be frustrating at times for everybody, but we appreciate everybody's efforts. And we especially appreciate our graduating seniors. We have Aurora Grafton leaving us and Jacqueline Jarrett. And so certainly, as I said, it's rough when you're struggling in the win column, but our kids and coaches worked extremely hard throughout the fall. And the soccer teams, I mentioned where they're at today. Next week, they will finish up with Scappoose. The girls at Scappoose, both varsity and JV games will be at 4:15. The boys will have their senior night next Tuesday at CMH Field. The JV game at 5:30, followed by the varsity game at 7:30. And cross country has their district meet coming up next Wednesday. Again, on the boys' side, Lucas Caruana is doing some great things. He finished 3rd at the Valiant Invitational, which was Valley Catholic's Invitational on Tuesday of this week. And hopefully we can get them qualified. We have a very tough boys and girls district coming up with our cross-country meet next Wednesday. And that will be here locally out at Camp Rylea. And I know Coach Fick is always interested in having any volunteers that might be willing to help. We need field judges and other volunteer help needed at the presentation table and those kinds of things. So please do not hesitate to contact me or Coach Fick about helping at the district cross-country meet. Should you be available next Wednesday afternoon, they will start running at 2 o'clock. Again, that's right here out at Camp Rylea. And then finally, we have our football team, and obviously a big win last Friday.
Great win.
It was a real solid win. We were real pleased. It was a good game and a good night for the Fishermen.
I would have to say Coach Linehan was really surprised when you just lined up 3 backs in the backfield and hammered it down his throat.
He was not really prepared for that. I think
You'd
that's
never
fair.
seen that before. I like to say that was great coaching.
Well, but you won't.
Howard Belichick.
It is interesting. 2 weeks in a row, having former coaches, and in one case, former coach and player as the head coaches across the other sideline.
Yeah,
it's a good thing. It's cool. I mean, I feel I'm.
It's even better beating them.
Well, you don't want to lose to them. That is for sure. And that's really kind of how we feel about going into tomorrow night, which has really been a good rivalry game for us and the Scappoose Indians. Pretty good rivals across the board in our men's sports, whether it's soccer, basketball, football, baseball. So, we have a real tough task in trying to secure the league title on our own. If we would drop this game at Scappoose, we would technically be a co-champion because we would both be 4-1, but they would earn the number 1 seed and the bye into the tournament. We would most likely play a play-in round game at home next weekend.
Why would that be? Because they beat you head-to-head?
Because they beat us head-to-head.
Oh, okay.
So,
so this is a big game for us.
It's a huge game. It's not like we can just have celebrated our season and now are waiting for the postseason.
Well, I wouldn't think we would do that anyway. But
we wouldn't do that anyway. But it's a big game. It's a really big game for them because the way the tiebreaker works, there's a chance if they lost, even though they'd be 3-2, they very well could be tied at 3-2 with Banks and Valley Catholic. And
we should give Valley Catholic the.
Well, but Banks beat Valley, so it's a true 3-way tie, everybody beating everybody once, in which case...
They flip a coin?
Yeah.
Oh, just like
Wow.
Friday Night Lights.
It's just like Friday Night Lights, and that's how you would determine the 2, 3, and 4 seeds from the
Wow.
league. Then what's really scary is if your OSA ranking isn't high enough as the 4th seed, you're not even going to make the tournament.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Jeez.
when we say there's a lot to play for,
You're not kidding.
we're not kidding. I mean, Scappoose is literally playing for
Their playoff lives.
their playoff lives. And
If we had TV in here in the studio, you could see me staring out the window
Wow.
very dramatically.
like one of the
Great atmosphere.
presidents on Mount
That'll be a good
Rushmore.
one.
Yeah, so Friday night will be a great atmosphere. We hope as many community members and fans and parents can make the trip, but please drive carefully. And if you can't, we do encourage you to watch online at AstoriaFord.com.
Yeah. I think we got everything handled over there.
I know your production assistant and my JV line coach, Joe Domini, has been in contact with Scappoose. And
We got a tent, so we're not sitting out in the rain with electrical devices.
which is good.
That's an upgrade from 2 years ago.
It's a shocking
We
development.
were in your truck 2 years ago.
Yeah, we were in the truck.
That's Scappoose.
In the back of the truck.
Yeah.
At Scappoose. That's why I was like, we need a man lift. But if the wind's going, I don't know if I want to do that.
Well, right now the forecast for Friday with rain is 30% chance. It might be tapering off by the evening. I know the forecast keeps changing every 5 minutes, so it's hard to get a real good read. You know, it's middle of October in Oregon, so
Yeah, I'd expect some sprinkles.
yeah, you always need to plan for getting wet.
Yep.
Well, I'll have my great fisherman rain jacket.
Nice.
So it'll be awesome.
So you'll be ready to
Awesome
go.
possum.
Going back to the Banks game real quick and then previewing, it kind of leads into a previewing about tomorrow night at Scappoose. I think our line play has been amazing. It's been a long time since we've been able to go toe-for-toe up front with a line from Banks. And really, as much acclaim as our skilled guys are getting, our backs, receivers, really it does start up front, and they're doing a great job. Keldon Littell, one of our captains and starting right tackle, has just done a tremendous job. Isaac Villa, our transfer senior from Lakeland, Florida, has really just been a gift to us.
Yeah.
He's performed extremely well at left tackle. Center Jared LaCour, who we moved from fullback to center in August, to help us provide some depth and establish something with the center position where we really just mostly had young candidates or inexperienced guys.
And he went up against a big dude.
He had a big job last Friday night or last Thursday night, and has another big job this Friday night, but has been extremely steady, and we couldn't say enough about it. Matthew Mather, who was out of the program a year ago, taking a year off for health reasons, and now has come back, has really helped stabilize that left guard position and has had an outstanding season. And then at right guard, we have a sophomore starting, Henry Samuelson. Also, senior Tim Hennessy started on senior night last week. Tim's kind of our sixth lineman in the group and could play center, could play guard, could play tackle. All six of them have done an outstanding job making things happen for a very talented group of skilled guys. Obviously led by our quarterback, Fridtjof Fremstead, who's, really I think should have an opportunity to be the Quappa League Offensive Player of the Year. And then our running backs, Samboy Tuamato has been outstanding. Tyler Ranta Jr. has been outstanding. And then what we saw last Friday is just putting a young man with the number 55 on his back, really another guard in the system, Tyler Lingstad, who's also our starting Mike linebacker, who has been a fullback in the program in the past, and just, Tyler ended up being our leading rusher last week. So
I think he's got the most touchdowns, doesn't he?
He might, because he's normally our red zone guy, and we've been giving him the ball a lot.
He's just been a beast.
He has
like Visa everywhere you want to be.
So unfortunately, I think we're running out of time, but it's been an outstanding fall so far. We appreciate everyone's support. And, we hope to see as many of you in our ending regular season games as possible as things are winding up this week and next. And hopefully we'll be looking forward to a great postseason run.
This has been the Rube Report, a weekly look at Astoria High School fisherman sports with Athletic Director Howard Rube. The Rube Report is brought to you by Northwest Lending Group. Tune in next Thursday at 12:30 p.m. for the latest Astoria High School sports headlines on KAST 1370. News and talk for the coast.